Hey subscribers and other viewers, Chester Howell back again. And this morning it was a beautiful day, and I was sitting here working on some things on my editing and whatnot, and I was just happened to look up and look out the back windows here, and seen a couple of deer out on the tracks there. We have old railroad tracks that runs just directly behind the house here, and we live just a few hundred yards from the Black Loyalist Society, and they own access to that part of the tracks, and they keep it cleared out for a walking trail. So yeah, I looked back and there they were, just a couple of young deer. They were pretty good sized deer, but anyway, that inspired me to tell a yarn or two about deer. So this first yarn is about deer hunting, and I don't go deer hunting myself, but I do believe that if you hunt within the confines of the law, that you should be able to do it, and as long as the deer is getting manufactured and ate, then I don't see a problem with it. But for those who take too many deer and take illegal deer, I don't think that's right. But anyway, on with the yarn. So this first yarn goes back to when I used to hunt with my dad when I was just young, and even long before I could carry a gun, I used to go. I remember going and sitting in the blind with him, and we'd sit there for hours waiting for a deer and whatnot. And but he usually got one within the first couple of days of the season, so it wasn't a whole lot. So, but anyway, I remember this is the first time that I was legally able to carry a gun as long as I was with him. So, and the spot where we used to hunt, Dad always had his blind, and it was his father's old blind, and I had went years where my uncle used to go there, and Dad's cousin used to go there and use my grandfather Vincent's old blind, and different people over the years. Well, come that I was old enough to go and carry a gun, so it was my turn to take over that blind. So we walked in that morning, and so Dad stopped me off at his father's old blind, and I went in there, and he went up over the hill to where his blind was and down over. So anyway, we were sitting there, and like I say, this is the first I had been able to carry a gun, so my mind was racing and wondering what would happen when and if a deer comes out there, and possibly a little bit of buck fever going on. If anybody's a hunter, they know what that is. So anyway, I was sitting there, and the first thing we had sat there, this was in the evening hunt, so we had already hunted in the morning and nothing showed up, and we had went back in the evening, and so I was sitting there, and the first thing I heard this coming through the leaves was here, click, 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 coming through the leaves. I said, oh man, I started to get right fidgety there, and I was like sitting there had the gun here in my hand, and I had my finger on the safety there, and I was getting ready excited. I heard this thrash coming up through the leaves, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get my first deer. I was so excited. So anyway, I waited and waited and waited, and it got louder, and it sounded like it was right behind me there. So I kind of slowly turned my head like this, because anybody who's ever been deer hunting knows that a deer can see any little bit of movement at all. So I turned my head around, and what it was two squirrels in a wrestling match coming through the leaves. And man, they were making so much noise, it sounded like there was a bear, not a deer, coming through the woods. So anyway, my nerves went back down, and I was like kind of chuckling to myself. So anyway, about an hour went by, and I heard this noise coming up through the leaves again. And I was thinking to myself in the back of my mind, oh, that's them 2 damn squirrels again. So anyway, I never paid too much attention. And so anyway, off in the distance, I heard a gun roar. It wasn't my father because it was too far away, but when I heard the roar, lo and behold, the noise I had heard started thrashing down to the thing, and I turned around real quick and looked, and it was a deer going down through the woods. The squirrels didn't mess me up once; they messed me up twice because I could have been on the lookout for this deer, but thinking that it was the squirrels the second time. But anyway, that was just a funny story. I seen those deer this morning and reminded me of that, and I'm getting on towards 6 minutes here, but I have another little story that I want to tell. This one's not about hunting. Actually, this was when we were driving the old Chevy Celebrity, actually, and we were coming out from visiting Annette's mother and father. We were coming out the road, and it was a nice summer evening, so we had the windows all open in the car, and so we were coming out, and I was going the speed limit because that road isn't fit to go over the speed limit, so I was actually going quite under the speed limit. So we come around this, what part of the road was it, hon? How close? Just before the head of the road, anyway. We was last corner before you get out to where the head of the road is. We were coming along there, and the first thing, this deer just come out of nowhere. So I on brakes like that, and I was stopping, and the deer put on his brakes. And like, it was so close that you could hear the deer, his hooves scraping on the pavement. That's how close it was, because we had all the windows open. And then at the last second, he decides that he's not going to hit this car, so he leaps over the corner of the hood. That's how close we was to hitting it. Like, and I'm so glad that deer decided to make that leap, because if he wouldn't have, we'd have smashed right into him and probably hurt him bad, or maybe even killed him, or smashed up the car, hurt us, or whatever. But no, that was, wow, it was one of the closest times I've ever come to hitting a deer and not actually hitting it. But like I say, you could actually hear its hooves on the pavement. That's how close it was. But anyway, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I see I'm a little close to 8 minutes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed these 2 little yarns, and with that, I'll say, remember, if you can't laugh with me, laugh at me, but keep laughing. Have a nice day.